What if I told you that the Bible contains a hidden timeline, stretching from the very first day of creation all the way to the year 2030, that precisely predicts both the first and second comings of the Messiah? This isn't speculation. In this presentation, we will explore over 24 biblical prophecies and patterns that systematically reveal a 7,000-year Messianic timeline, pinpointing Jesus' first coming in 30 CE and forecasting his second coming in 2030 CE. If you find this intriguing, make sure to hit the like button, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to stay updated as we unfold these astonishing revelations. The biblical patterns and prophecies we'll examine are not just scattered coincidences. They are woven into the very fabric of Scripture, from the creation account in Genesis to the intricate design of the tabernacle, from the parables of the Messiah to specific historical events recorded in both the Old and New Testaments. Even the words of the prophets themselves hint at this timeline. As we explore these details, you will begin to see that this messianic timeline is hidden everywhere in the Bible, waiting to be discovered. One of the first clues comes from the creation account in Genesis chapter 1. Isaiah himself wrote, "The end is declared in the beginning." And indeed, the creation narrative provides much more than an origin story. It contains a blueprint of God's plan for mankind, laid out over 7 distinct days. Each of these days corresponds to significant events and prophetic markers that, when interpreted properly, reveal a divine 7,000-year plan. But to understand this, we first need to grasp a key prophetic principle: the concept of one day as 1,000 years. This principle, referenced explicitly in 2 Peter 3:8, teaches that when the Bible mentions a day, it can prophetically correspond to a 1,000-year period. This isn't a new idea. Early Christian writers recognized it as far back as the 1st century. For example, the Epistle of Barnabas, circa 100 CE, explained that God completed creation in 6 days, representing 6,000 years, and that he would rest on the 7th day, a period representing the completion of history and the ultimate rest in the Messiah. Further affirmation comes from Irenaeus, circa 150 CE, and Methodius, circa 300 CE, who each highlighted that God's creative days foreshadow a timeline of millennia for humanity. In other words, creation itself was designed not just as an act of origin, but as a prophetic map of human history and redemption. How does this connect to Scripture? Consider Psalm 90, verse 3-4, where Moses writes, "For 1,000 years in your sight are but as yesterday when it is past, or as a watch in the night." Even Moses, intimately familiar with Genesis, recognized that God operates on a timeline far beyond human comprehension. This principle sheds light on a perplexing puzzle in Genesis 2-3, when God told Adam that he would die on the day he ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Clearly, Adam did not literally die that day. But if one day is 1,000 years, this makes perfect sense. Adam died within a symbolic framework aligned with God's larger plan. This understanding becomes even more fascinating when we consider that Adam lived 930 years, just shy of a symbolic 1,000-year day. From this perspective, the prophetic principle of one day as 1,000 years not only clarifies Scripture, but also serves as a critical key in decoding the Messianic timeline from Genesis through the prophetic books and into the New Testament. Using this framework, scholars and prophetic interpreters have traced a timeline that accurately pinpoints Jesus' first coming in 30 CE. What is truly remarkable is that the same biblical patterns and calculations that predicted the first coming also indicate a second coming in 2030 CE. These patterns appear repeatedly across Scripture, in the arrangement of the tabernacle, in the sequence of Old Testament feasts, in prophetic events, and even in the parables of Jesus himself. Each layer builds upon the previous, reinforcing the 7,000-year Messianic timeline. As we examine these prophecies, it becomes clear that the Bible consistently points to a divinely orchestrated plan for humanity's redemption. This isn't a matter of vague speculation or approximate guesses. It's a systematic unveiling of God's timetable for His people. And while interpretations may vary, the patterns themselves are undeniable, woven into the text with incredible precision. Imagine the magnitude of this revelation, a timeline spanning 7,000 years, encoded in the very first chapter of the Bible, unfolding through history, and culminating in the events we may witness around 2030. It challenges us to look at Scripture not just as a spiritual guide, but as a carefully constructed prophetic chronicle. Every feast, every parable, every creation day carries significance in this extraordinary timeline. This presentation will guide you step by step through over 24 key prophecies and patterns, revealing how they converge to mark the years of Jesus' first and second comings. You'll see the evidence laid out in a logical sequence, making the prophetic timeline not only understandable, but compelling. And while we approach this with reverence and humility, acknowledging that interpretations are never absolute, what emerges is a breathtaking picture of God's plan across millennia. If this revelation sparks curiosity or awe in you, don't forget to like this video, comment below with your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel for updates on further prophetic insights. Witnessing these patterns come together is a powerful reminder that the Creator's plan is not random but meticulously designed, and it invites each of us to engage with Scripture on a deeper, more profound level. The coming years may hold incredible significance. As we approach 2030, the potential alignment of prophecy and history invites urgent reflection, study, and preparedness. The Messianic timeline we will explore isn't just an academic exercise. It's a call to understand God's intentions, appreciate His foresight, and watch history unfold in real time. Stay with us as we uncover each prophecy, each pattern, and each hidden detail that brings the Messianic timeline to life. The evidence is all around us, and now it's time to see it clearly for yourself.